The Villain's Demand reviews all new X-Men from Marvel Comics.
Hey guys, it's The Villain's Demand. I'm Evan the Great. This is Justin Von Doom. Today we're here to give y'all another comic book review over all new X-Men, Volume 2, Issues 1 through 3, all new Marvel.
In this book, basically you've got Beast trying to get the young X-Men from the past back together with a couple new additions. They're wondering where Cyclops is at. They haven't caught Cyclops in a while. Now, Cyclops is being your typical young teenager. He's brooding over Cyclops from the past. He's died. We still, as readers, have not found out what had happened between him and the Inhumans. Basically, he's in Chicago, where he meets his girl, and these Ghosts of Cyclops show up. It's a bunch of teenagers that are mutants that are basically fans of Cyclops and all about mutant rights, but they're almost extreme activists in a sense. But what it gets down to is Cyclops tries to stop them. The X-Men show up because they realize where Scott is with this cerebral unit Beast has. Cyclops and the leader of these Ghosts of Cyclops, as they're calling themselves, named Thirst, wind up in jail. Thirst finds out that Cyclops isn't really the son of Cyclops. He's kind of getting the idea. It's actually a young Cyclops from the past, and Cyclops kind of gives him this story. Well, the Ghost Cyclops show up to bust Thirst out. The cops surround the police station. The X-Men show up, and basically everything kind of ends peacefully. And the Beast decides, they're going to start traveling the United States at the time with the rest of the group. And I didn't think this was too bad of a book.
No, I like the book. The book is definitely, compared to the other X-Men titles that we're reading, it feels more like teenager, childish, but it works for this book because you got some of them that are more serious and more developed as characters and human beings, and then you got other ones who have a lot more kiddish aspects to them.
Well, you got young mutants becoming adults. So.
And it's awesome. It works really well together. Then you got this new bad guy group.
Do you call them? They're really bad guys.
I don't think maybe
they're like misguided college students.
There you go, misguided.
They're your activists you get in college every day. So,
but they call themselves the Ghost of Cyclops, and there's various different ones. They have different power sets, like you talked about Thirst earlier, and his ability to shoot water out.
I thought that was a really strange mutant power.
It's cool I just don't know if it's cool because he does it through his mouth, and it's kind of weird.
It's weird. It is like Jaw and ninjas.
Yeah.
It's kind of strange.
It's almost like you knocked a thing off a fire hydrant and it shoots somebody.
I don't know why he didn't call himself Fire Hydrant.
I mean, I guess I'm going to call him that for now on the book. Then we have Pillar. He's the big guy, right?
Well, there was two big guys, and I thought
one of them can shoot stuff too.
But yeah, and I thought that was weird. The strangest thing, like this book. Okay, this book to me, I wasn't big on this book. It was okay.
Yeah.
I agree with you. Where for them being young and developing into young adults and understanding what's going on, it fits that.
Yeah.
And I guess it's a good start off point for what they want to get to. But yeah, with the Ghosts of Cyclops, what was strange is they don't really explain the rest of the guy's mutant powers, which Thirst is pretty self-explanatory. But like you mentioned Pillar, and they didn't really give them all their names. Maybe the other guys didn't have names picked up. But like you're right, there's two big guys. One of them, Pillar, which was the big gray one, and then you had Tar Pit. You really didn't get to see a lot of Tar Pit. Like you just seen him through some black stuff out of his hand, which you would assume would be tarish. And then he was climbing on walls. I don't know if you noticed that when they were in jail. He had like 4 fingers. Almost like Toad to a cinch. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And then Juice, which I assume Juice was an electrical chick that was flying. And the other guys you didn't really get names for. They would call him by the regular name every now and then. Like we knew Thirst was Austin. I think Pillar was Jeremy. I know one of them was Hannah. I think that was Juice. So it seemed like everybody that got a name actually got their real names too. I don't know about you, but to me, the Ghost of Cyclops reminded me of the jocks in school. That's kind of what they were to me.
Yeah.
In a sense, like they didn't care about everybody else. It was all about what they thought they wanted to be known, in a sense. And that's kind of what they reminded me of.
I got the Jocks, definitely atmosphere. But their power sets, I've got a whole lot of the Morlocks from the X-Men cartoons type stuff.
Yeah.
It kind of, they're misfits, but then they took the misfits aspect and made them Jocks. Made them interesting, but to me, that's the lowest point in this book. I really didn't like the Ghost of Cyclops that much, even though it set up them finding Cyclops and getting the team back together.
See, I thought it was more of the high point of the book.
Yeah.
Because, okay, we've got this whole what Cyclops has done.
Yeah.
And, you know, they use that to push the whole fear of mutants even more, hatred of mutants, and which we've already covered, Extraordinary X-Men. You really see that with where Magic is teleporting around and she gets that young mutant. And you really see that, and stuff like this would actually start to show up real worldwide.
Yeah.
So I thought that was really good.
It was good. It's just, it was my least favorite in the book.
But like I said, what was bad is, which they're new mutants, and there would be a way to explain their powers. But I think that's something that attaches on in future issues, because when the end, where they're like, we don't surrender, and they were kind of torn, like, some people realize, yeah, we were dumb kids.
Yeah.
So I could see where those ones that were like, no, we don't surrender, actually play a big part of the future in these books.
Definitely. Then we got, there's all the X-Men characters, some of them are close together, friends-wise, and then we actually having a relationship between Angel and Wolverine. That's very interesting.
Laura. Yeah. But not Logan, to get that right.
I want to call her X-23 the entire time.
Yeah, that's who she is to me, X-23.
But you got them two. They've apparently been in a serious relationship of sorts. But, well, I'm going to break down some of the things they do in the book that I thought was kind of cool. Laura being, well, X-23 is what we're going to call her, alright? X-23 is really gung-ho, just like Wolverine. She keeps getting herself into the mix of battle, almost getting herself killed. When she catches herself on fire on purpose at one point, and Angel's just not having it.
I thought that was really funny.
He grabs her and he brings her and throws her in the water and basically stops him from fighting the Ghost of Cyclops. And she is so mad at him, and he's like, you just don't understand what I'm going through. But he don't understand that she can heal from that, and he don't know how much she can take.
Well,
I can understand where he would be mad, but at the same time, you're like, man, she's Wolverine.
Well, and I think that's what she's getting at, is almost everything's a competition to her. Because you're talking about how she was mad and, you know, she was on fire.
Yeah.
And because one of the other guys, the big buffed up guy that was orange, you really didn't get a name for him. Yeah, he shot, like, energy at her, caught on fire, and she was laughing about it. You know, and she knew, oh, this will be even more intimidating. Yeah. And then you go back to the beginning of the book where they're skiing, and, like, literally she's doing everything she can to stop Angel. Like, she's cutting the trees and all this other stuff. And he was like, she's like, well, you were cheating. And she was like, well, I don't see that as cheating. You know, it's an advantage. And it really makes an interesting relationship, because Bobby's wanting to be the gentleman, and that's kind of a way you don't treat her, especially if you know her past. So, that's going to make for some interesting play later on in the book. And they kind of do that with everybody. They kind of pair them up into relationships in a sense. And it's kind of funny. You know, you've got Beast and Iceman, they're like a team. You've got Kid Apocalypse and Oya, which are kind of like a team. And then Cyclops, obviously, is the loner. So it seems like they're building up the team based on like two people relationships. So hopefully maybe in the future, you know, all this will lead up to interesting stories.
Yes.
Getting with this with the team, you've got your original Young X-Men, except for Jean, she's an Extraordinary X-Men. And then you've got Laura, because, you know, your X-Men team's got to have a Wolverine, you know, X-23. And you got some people that really haven't had a lot of play in recent X-Men books. You've got Evan, not Evan the Great, Evan, who is Kid Apocalypse. And then you've got Oya, who hasn't really had a lot of play in X-Men books, and if you're new to comics, these will also be very new characters to you.
Yeah. Which I really like Kid Apocalypse. You get a little bit of him in some other Marvel books previous to this. Basically, I think it's in X-Force where they try to go back and get him,
Yeah, where
kill him,
the Phantom X supposedly kills him and he fools everybody.
Yeah, they wind up not killing him. He comes to the future. I think this is the same Kid Apocalypse.
Yes,
could be wrong, but his character, he's really hard to read on how strong his mutant abilities are. You see him, I think when they first see him, he's wrestling an alligator.
Yeah, him and Beast are there, and everybody's just kind
I'm
of
like,
watching
wow,
him
he's strong enough to wrap around alligator and wrestle him to the ground already, and he's just a kid.
Well, you kind of see he's like Apocalypse, because he's supposed to be Apocalypse. But, you know, he's tangible, you know, he's got his arm wrapped around it, so he's already got the molecular regeneration.
Yeah.
Molecular reconstruction that Apocalypse does.
So it's really cool to see that, and then he's more of a, he likes to help people. He's almost like a leader role in some sorts when he talks to like Bobby and Oya, different people. He's kind of a cool character, but there's a lot still to be explained about how strong he is and what he can do. It kind of leaves the door open, I guess.
Well, you've got the Apocalypse War story, I think that's what they're calling it, that's about to take place. So I'm pretty sure he's the main reason that he's in these books. He's eventually going to play a part in all this Apocalypse stuff, because technically he is supposed to become Apocalypse. The other new character, which not new, she's just been around, she's getting some play, is Oya Idy. I remember her when she first showed up. She's got a really cool power set, in my opinion. She's got the whole control over temperature, which she makes ice and she makes water, which also is relationship-wise. That kind of takes place with her and Bobby, Iceman, in this.
Yeah.
Because he's like, oh, I get to be the teenager with all the ice power. She's like, oh no, don't worry. And she makes fire. So them two right there are going to make for some interesting combos when it comes to battle. And also, maybe she'll catch Laura on fire. You know, because, you know, a scary Wolverine is even more scary when he's flaming Wolverine.
I thought that was cool.
I thought that was hilarious.
Man, but yeah, she's really cool. First time I've ever read about her, Oya, and I really like her character. But she's a very complex, quiet character, very to herself. But her character develops as the series goes on.
The other guy we haven't even really mentioned is Pickles the Bamf.
Oh, dude, he's awesome.
He is the comic relief of this book.
Yes.
If you don't know what Bamfs are, they're like they're a race of creatures that are just like mini night crawlers in a sense, and this one they're pranksters, and this one gets pretty funny. They take him to they're at a pizza joint there. I'm going to assume it's around campus, because if you ever go to college, you know, big colleges, they're always known for a little campus food and whatnot. And he's refueling himself after a teleport on beer and pizza, and Beast can't catch him while everybody else is sitting there laughing at him. It's pretty funny.
All over the place, eating everybody else's pizza.
Yeah, he's like chugging beer, and it's got gulp, 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 you know. It's kind of weird seeing, because that's not Nightcrawler, but these Bamfs are a totally different person, and it's pretty funny to watch. And
it's funny watching Beast have a pet that is, I'm going to call it a pet, that is just funny because Beast in this old school X-Men that came back from the past, he hasn't got fur. He's still human skin Beast. And to have a pet like Pickles is really cool. It's a way for their team to travel. And somebody we ain't talked about yet is Beast. And I want to talk about, to me, Beast is like the fatherly figure of this team, I think. He's like, I would guess him and Cyclops are the eldest.
Yeah, I would say.
They seem the more mature and the decision making. And it's like everybody listens to Beast and follows Beast. And I like that because Beast is a smart guy.
Well, they really ride him as the glue to the X-Men. And that, to me, that's what he's always been. He's always been that guy that's always tried to help the team up, and throughout his history you've always seen that, and seem like they're going to write him the same way, because to me with the first all-new X-Men run by Bendis, you know, it's more of the X-Men dealing with being in the future, seeing what they've done, and in this book, I think you're going to see them be not worried about what they've done in the past, but be themselves and not, well, the future.
Yeah.
And not worry about what they're supposed to be and be themselves. And this, you really see him stick with that as he's trying to keep everybody together and be a team.
Yeah, that's definitely what I got out of it.
And with that being said, I think that's the overall theme you're going to get with this book, and it really shows there with Cyclops. He's the guy that really hits hard with this book, that he's tired of everybody talking about Cyclops. He's tired that he has to be Cyclops, and he's seen what Cyclops has done, what he's supposed to grow up to do, and he's tired of it. And by the end of this book, you know, once with the prison thing, when it comes out, he's basically gives this speech about how, you know, he shouldn't be basically judged by the actions of future him, because he hasn't even grown up to make those decisions yet.
Yeah.
And you really see that with Jean in the original book with the Shi'ar, how she's supposed to become the Phoenix. And so far, you know, her, and Cyclops have been the only characters that you've seen that have dealt with what they're supposed to do in the future. And I'm pretty sure eventually with Beast you're going to get that, because Beast has done some things he's regretted, and one right now, I think that is becoming part of that is this team right here.
Yeah.
Bringing his future, his past self. Man, there's too much past and future stuff for the X-Men. To the future, and and it's going to play out, and it's going to eventually be important, because I assume that these guys realize that they're stuck here.
Yeah.
And they've accepted it, and now it's, well, let's be us and not worry about what we do in the future. Let's change that through ourselves. We're already here. Let's make the best of it. Let's do what we can. And hopefully with that I'm hoping they run into Jean, and they run into this extraordinary X-Men team, because you've already seen that Jean's been like Cyclops. She's been trying to run from her past.
Yeah.
Well, not her past. Stupid X-Men. That's all some time travel stuff. From her future, and with her, and then they need a guy like Old Man Logan on the team that's also dealt with what he has already done and accepted it. That way you kind of get that other character to bounce off of. I think that's what Cyclops needs on the team, is a character to bounce off of.
I think you're right, and I was thinking of this earlier. The character that somebody they can bounce off of, I think they're going to add a second character onto this team that is a future of them, like a present of themselves. Like, I don't know who it would be. Like, say you took Beast and you put him on this team with Young Beast. It's going to be something like that. Where one of these characters, their grown-up self is going to be on this team. I just feel it coming.
Well, see, that's the thing, though. Young Beast...
I'm not saying it's Beast. I'm just
future
saying.
Beast.
I'm just saying it's going to be something like that. But going through all the characters, you're like, Cyclops is dead. Iceman's are different. Beasts don't like Beasts. Wolverine, you can't really know where. The only one you get to is like Angel, but he's brain wiped.
This is Young Angel.
I'm talking about the older Angel. If you put him on this team, I think he's been brain wiped and he's new. The last time I read about him.
Well, see,
so it's kind of interesting.
I think you get that with Laura X-23, because she's already been through a lot.
Yeah.
And I think that's, we was talking about her and Angel and their relationship. I think that's what kind of plays into that. She's already lived this life, and especially her, like I was mentioning her past, she's got a really, really messed up past, being the young prostitute and whatnot. So there's already that character that's dealt with stuff at a young age to bounce off of.
I guess she's got to be that character too, because looking at the roster, her and I guess Oya is the only ones that ain't, and Pickles, they're the only ones that's not from the different timeline.
Yeah, and saying that, these, and I didn't even think about this, is you've still got Kid Apocalypse, who still has to deal with what he's supposed to come to.
Yeah.
Because, I think he's supposed to be Apocalypse, this super badass villain from the Marvel Universe that's supposed to bring the mutants to, basically the Promised Land, supposed to conquer the world, where mutants will rule. So there's a lot that's going to play off in the future with all these guys.
Yeah, I think I like that the aspect of what they're going to do with this team, traveling around to each location.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing. I don't know if I like them traveling around, you know, which I guess is good for Marvel because everything's like in New York.
Yeah.
But, I mean, okay. At the end of the book, you got Toad. Toad says Cyclops has to die.
Yeah.
Where's he at? You know, I mean, how is he going to find them when they're traveling around?
Remember, staying on that point with Toad and where he's been, it brings me to the idea that there's maybe a brotherhood put in place that nobody knows about yet, and possibly they've sent Toad here.
Well, he's drunk though.
Yeah.
He's at a bar. That's what I'm saying. Like he said. I mean, how? Well, obviously, in this day and age, we have social media, and everybody can just keep track of where everybody's at. So, yeah, I guess it would be too hard to follow. And now that people know that, hey, Cyclops, there's this young Cyclops around, people are going to be like almost like groupies in a way. People are probably going to be following them around as they travel.
And Kid Apocalypse being good, and they pulled him back. He's from the past. So he's from the past. He's other from the future. I didn't think of that.
Well, no. He's still not. You know, he's from just normal time.
Yeah.
Because the X-Force found him. When they went to the future, I think that's when Angel was becoming all of that.
Well, I say all the time travel, like we keep saying they've done, it always messes up stuff. So Apocalypse being good right now, it wouldn't shock me if there's an X-Men from the past that's going to be evil and he's going to show up and fight this team.
That was once good?
Yeah. Possibly he is the new Brotherhood master. Because they're going to come into effect sometime throughout this book. You think they would.
Well,
a younger Brotherhood top team.
That's where I think these Ghosts of Cyclops, because like I said, at the end of the book they were divided. You know, and they're like, Thirst was like, we do not surrender. Man, there's your young Brotherhood in the making right there. Because, I mean...
Maybe they needed a leader, and that would be where I'm coming at.
That might be it. I mean...
an X-Men that we love, and he's not going to... Maybe he came back, and he's been hidden this whole time.
So, I mean, so it's almost like a rewrite of the X-Men starting over, is you've got this young team of X-Men, and then you look at these Ghosts of Cyclops, and you have a young Brotherhood, new Brotherhood of evil mutants in the, you know, making. Because eventually they're going to get tired of this. I mean, that's kind of what they're getting at is, you know, we're mutants, and he even talks about how mutants should be feared. So, like I said, you've got like a young Magneto with a horrible power set in the works right there.
Yeah.
Other than that, this like I said, this arc's really small. It's 1 through 3. It seems like just kind of looking through previews books that this book's going to start off with small arcs, which I think most of the X-Men books are with the whole Apocalypse War thing coming on. So it's a pretty quick, easy read if you're looking for something to read within, you know, if you're sitting at the doctor's office when in like 30 minutes during a wait.
Yep.
There's not a lot to cover here. But with that, where villains demand, JVD Just Von Du, he's Evan the Great, and remember, Flaming Wolverine is much more scarier than normal Wolverine.